They just don't wanna. They just don't wanna. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here, back with another episode of Songs of the Year. We're up to 1983 now. And for me, great news. We've made it through the worst part of the 80s. And I think 83 is looking much, much stronger than the previous years of the decade. Lots to choose from here for me. And for the first time in years, the Hot 100 list has spilled over into my wildcard selections. So any thoughts on the year before we get into the picks?
One of the best years, I think, ever for the Billboard charts. Just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. Albums from 82, doing real well in 83, Thriller, 1999, etc. Just loaded. Too many, way too many.
Yeah, I mean, just beating a dead horse here in the 80s. I love the Billboard. I love this time. You can pretty much just make a playlist of everything that charted, and I'll not be skipping many.
So if this is your first time watching this series, or you're just joining us, the way we do this, we each pick 5 of our favorite songs from the Billboard Hot 100. Any song that charted for any amount of time during the year is eligible. Then we do a second list of 5 songs that are wild cards. They can be also songs that charted, or they could be deep cuts, B-sides, soundtracks, songs, anything like that. One of the 2 lists will be one song short. We save our very favorite of the year for the end. And right before we reveal the winners, we also make a selection for our least favorite top 40 song of the year. So you guys ready to get into it? You want me to kick it off? I can kick it off.
Pick it up.
My Hot 100 selections. My first pick is Overkill by Men at Work. Love this song. I've mentioned it a bunch of times before, but I played briefly in an 80s cover band, and this was a song we played, and I loved it. Super fun to play. It was always kind of a mixed reaction of people that were excited to hear it and people that didn't really remember it, but I think Colin Hayes sounds great on this song. I love when he kind of goes up and sings "At Least There's Pretty Lights." And I love the guitar solo on this song, the tone of it, and the way it kind of stacks up at the end with the delay. It's really, really great. My next pick is going to be Say, Say, Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. I think it's a great pop song. I love the production on it. George Martin produced it. I think both singers sound great. They're in top form, and I love the horns and the harmonica on it. It's got a great music video as well. Next up, I've got Every Day I Write the Book by Elvis Costello. Amazing song. A song that Elvis Costello himself didn't really like that much, and he didn't perform it for a very long time. There's a really cool video that you can watch of a TV series that I think was on Sundance originally, where it's a bunch of singer-songwriters sitting around in a circle talking and playing songs. And Ron Sexsmith is on there with him. And Elvis tells the story of the 2 of them being on tour in Japan and Ron opening for Elvis. Ron asked him if he was doing the song in his set, and he said he wasn't. So Ron did an acoustic version in his set. And Elvis said that he kind of rescued the song for him and made him like it again. I saw him play this song live at Newport Folk Festival with Dawes backing him. It was a highlight of the festival that year. I think it's just an amazing song. I love the bass on it too. It's great. Next pick is going to be Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Perfect pop song. As we discussed in our songs that you might be surprised are covers video, this is actually a cover, was originally done by Robert Hazard, but her version has kind of become this iconic song. When people talk about it, they always sort of talk about it in more general, broad terms about how it's kind of a defining song of the era, kind of made her a big star. They may mention how her personality is so quirky, and say it's a feminist anthem or whatever. But people always seem to just avoid talking about the actual performance on the song. And I think it's a masterclass in how to deliver a pop vocal. Some of her vocal lines are so great. She sings the hell out of the song. So good. And so much personality. Just really a lesson in how to imbue yourself into a song. It's amazing. And then my last pick from the Hot 100 is an artist that has 20 plus albums to her name. First record came out in 72, I believe. Most recently released a record in 2021. And I don't think any of the three of us have ever uttered her name on the channel. I've got Drop the Pilot by Joan Armatrading, which I think is a great song. It peaked only at number 78, and it was the only song of hers that ever charted in the US. She had a little more success in the UK, but not a big hit maker. But this song is just undeniably catchy. It was the record that it's on, which is called The Key, was produced by Steve Lillywhite. And when she turned the record in to the label, they rejected it, saying it was not commercial enough. So she did 2 more songs with the producer Val Gary, and Drop the Pilot ended up being one of those songs where she was kind of aiming for something more commercial. It's so catchy, so good. I think the production on it's great as well. Great tune. Love it.
Joe had this last year. I've got it this year. It is Little Red Corvette. It was his winner, but it charted in 83, so I'm using it now. Tricky with these stats, the way everything's working, but whatever. It's a tremendous song. It's got those really cool double entendres things going on. And yeah, I mean, we've talked about it on the last video. We don't need to talk much more about it. It's fantastic. I'm also going to go with this gem. She's a Beauty by the Tubes. Friggin' awesome. I love the Tubes. This song it's just kind of like flawless for me. I love the verse. Love how it gets kind of like a little more emotional and dramatic in the pre-chorus where he does you can step inside another world, you get to talk to a pretty girl. It's getting like a little bit seedy and a little bit dark, and then it just takes off with this ray of sunshine with a don't fall in love, and the chorus is just so awesome. It's got those Van Halen-esque kind of backing vocals coming in, and the thing that just brings it all together is that opening kind of like little lightning bolty like synth language, like it just keeps everything going. It's awesome. Also going to go with the Police with Synchronicity 2. This is just a masterclass of what Andy Summers can do on guitar. It's just so cool. The drums are fantastic. Love the energy behind it, and it's just a really cool written guitar part, kind of about Loch Ness Monster. Sounds very cool, whatever it is. I love it. Also going with Let's Dance by David Bowie. Just so much fun. I love just the fun of this song. It's a tremendous dance song. It's got those really cool spaced out big synth parts. I love the Under the Moonlight, the Serious Moonlight, when he belts that out. And then those little twangy little guitar parts in it. It's so cool. And then finally, an even better Bowie song. Got to go with Modern Love. Absolutely just tremendous. Really simple, but I just think the melody and the lyrics and everything are just so catchy and perfect going against that beat and everything, and like those heavy piano parts. Really awesome. Can't complain about 80s Bowie. I mean, I nominated this album. I don't think a lot of people like Let's Dance as a full album, but I do. I've nominated it in 83. I think it's a great album, and this is a couple of great Bowie tracks. So there you go.
Hey, all good choices so far. So much to choose from. I got to pick a Michael Jackson track from Thriller because it would be wrong, I think, if I didn't. And yeah, I probably heard all of them too much. So I'll go with PYT for my number 5 on the billboards. No PYT? Love PYT. The little squeaky voice thing that basically created that and would be used by millions of rappers like 30 years later. Also on my list, I'm going to go with a little Genesis. I got That's All. Just love the drums from Phil. So tight. It's just amazing. Homage to Ringo's playing in the Beatles, apparently. And he nails it. Wouldn't be an 80s year without a little Billy Joel, Uptown Girl, my favorite Billy Joel track. Just so catchy, so buoyant, jubilant. Just makes you want to sing along. Love it.
Don't worry. We'll be talking about Uptown Girl much later.
No, you better not. Don't even. Also on my list, I got a Police song as well, but I'm going to go with King of Pain. Really kind of dark. Love the lyrics. Just so foreboding and sort of heartbroken. Could have picked a Synchronicity too, though, because that is also a great track. Couple of great singles from that album. And my number one, I got little Def Leppard to go with Photograph. Definitely my favorite Def Leppard song. Kind of went from like AC/DC clones to just like super pop, but also like hard rock, little metal, still in there. And this is just incredibly catchy. Love the vocals from what's his face and Joe Elliott. Is that his name? I think so.
Yes.
I'll go with that. Yeah, phenomenal song from Pyromania, which I think was my runner-up in '83.
All right, wildcard time. My first wildcard selection is Love on a Farm Boy's Wages by XTC. Great song. I think they kind of complete their transition from the angular punky pop to the more like pastoral English folk pop on this record. Love the guitar in the verse. The percussion throughout the song is really great. Very cool. It's got a really cool bridge section too with the fretless bass that comes in and where he sings, "I'd be a rich man if I could. The only job I do well is here on the farm, and it's breaking my back." My next pick is I Can't Take It by Cheap Trick. I don't know if a lot of people really even know this record that well. I don't think it performed extremely well or anything like that. But outside of their first 4 classic records, I think this is my favorite, Cheap Trick. Produced by Todd Rundgren, and it really sounds like it. It sounds like Robin Zander singing on a Utopia record, but the songs are super well written, super catchy. I think it's one of their catchiest batches of songs, and this is the catchiest of them all.
You said his last name.
Did it for you. Next, I've got Age of Consent by New Order. Amazing song, great guitar riff. It's like the anti-classic rock guitar riff. It's so different from like a Zeppelin riff. It's not that at all, but it's a great riff, clean tone, and all the other stuff going on around it. These other guitar parts come in at different points, and the way everything kind of dances around that riff is really cool. You also get like the cascading synth at one point, which is really, really great. And that relentless beat is so good. My last one before my winner, I'm going to go with Joker Man by Bob Dylan. One of my favorite Bob Dylan songs of the 80s. Perhaps the only song that really competes with that title would be Most of the Time from Oh Mercy. But you've got Mark Knopfler and Mick Taylor on this track. And you've also got Sly and Robbie as the rhythm section. Robbie Shakespeare, the bass player, passed away this past week at the age of 68. So rest in peace to him. But love this song. I love the version on Infidels. But also famously, he performed this on Letterman with a band called The Plugs, did a totally different version of it, which absolutely rules. It's probably my favorite TV performance by anybody ever. So if you've never seen that, go check it out. And yeah, that's it. I'm saving my winner for the end.
Very nice. Really wanted to get Age of Consent on there, but didn't quite make it for me. Age of Consent was in my top 20 favorite songs ever when I did my song list in 2011 on Facebook, but a relic of the past now. Can't even crack my top 5 deep tracks for 83. But here are the ones that did. Girlfriend is Better by Talking Heads. Such a cool beat to it. I love just the 80s Talking Head stuff. It's got just so much personality and like nerdy, goofy, new school kind of goodness, and what it's just so catchy. I got a girlfriend that's better than that. So cool. Also gonna go with the very underrated album and title track from that album from a very properly rated band called the Rolling Stones, going with Undercover. Well, I guess not technically a title track. It is Undercover of the Night. Love this song. I love the lyrics. They're so kind of snarling and just about like losing sexuality and having to do everything like so hush hush, and it's awesome. It's got a really cool drum beat, really cool little scratchy guitarness to it, and Mick is just so much flavor and charisma on this. I think it's awesome. Also going with a deep cut from my album of the year, I'm going with Surrender by U2. Really awesome, just casual, lighthearted sway to this with it's just so like relaxing, just the way it's got that just like washes over you. It's very cleansing of a song. It's beautiful in that sort of like early 80s U2 like overcast gloom kind of way, but I just think it's really lush with a lot of gorgeousness, and that just simple bass part with all the sparseness, and then how it takes off and got a little bit of that slide guitar on it. So awesome. And then a really deep one from the R.E.M. debut. I'm going with Laughing. Great song, great dancey college rock beat, lovely little arpeggio driven, simple song with really pretty vocals in the chorus, and that's just steadfast bass and the jangliness of Peter Buck's guitar. Fantastic. Probably my favorite on that album. There you go. Saving my winner.
Okay, I feel like we're really mining our past favorite artists, and I'm going to continue to do so. And I feel bad though. There's so many other songs I would want to get on, but I keep going back to the same people. Not this one though. This is at least somebody sort of new, but he's appeared on my list in another band. I got Rainbow in the Dark from Dio. I love that guitar solo from Vivian Campbell. Just absolutely as over the top 80s metal as you could possibly get. And that little synth line that kind of sounds like a violin. It's beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Also on my list, this track narrowly beat out Love in Itself, and it's similar. But I got to go with What Is Love from Howard Jones over Love in Itself from Depeche Mode. I just love this song. I love Howard Jones's singles in the 80s, very underrated. The descending vocal layering in the chorus is just lovely. One of my favorite sort of synth pop, whatever, Brit pop, synth pop songs. It wouldn't be a year in the 80s without Elvis Costello. So I'm going to go with Shipbuilding from my 83 winner. Just an amazing trumpet solo from Chet Baker. Really great lyrics, maybe Costello's best. And it's a really moving, touching song about the Falkland War. Number 2, I'm going to go with Journey, Faithfully, my all-time favorite 80s power ballad, whatever. Good enough that Prince ripped it off for Purple Rain. He did ask for permission, though. Called up Steve Perry and was like, hey, I'm ripping off Faithfully. And can I? And of course, Steve Perry said yes. So all's well that ends well. But number 1, though, we'll wait for the winner's circle.
Okay, worst of the year. I had 2 in mind. I had to check. They both charted. I had to check on whether or not they cracked the top 40. Thankfully, only one did, so it was an easy decision. But I do want to shout out Shopping from A to Z by Tony Basil. Terrible, terrible follow-up to Mickey. Absolutely horrendous. That is why she's a one-hit wonder. But the one I'm going with is a song called The Curly Shuffle by Jump in the Saddle. It's a novelty song about the Three Stooges. It is a Western swing song for some reason. I don't know why you would choose to make it a Western swing song. I don't know if there's some sort of tie-in with Western swing music and Three Stooges. Certainly wasn't a popular form of music in the early 80s. But it's basically them just doing Three Stooges impressions, and the chorus is full of nyok, nyok, nyoks and stuff like that. So it's terrible. Bizarrely, another band did the same song, a band called the Knuckleheads. And the Knuckleheads version is the version that charted and was a hit in Canada. So if you're a Canadian viewer and you remember the song, but by a different artist, that's why. But I did not listen to the Knuckleheads version. I can't imagine it's any better.
We should check it out. We should do an entire video on with a fan poll about which one is better. All right. Again, not going with Billy Joel here, Joe. But I do think that this artist may now be in the lead for most worst songs on my list. I'm going with Styx with Mr. Roboto. Screw this song. It's so stupid. Somehow manages to be the most creative thing they've ever done, which isn't saying much. There's just nothing about Styx that I like at all. It's like putting ketchup on a birthday cake. It just does not belong in my life. I don't want Styx to even be a thing. Sorry, Jason's mom. They're just terrible, and this song really is just like putting a Q-tip in my ear so hard and with so much strength that I'm anticipating it coming out the other side, and it never does. That's what like listening to a Styx song is for me. So no thank you, Mr. Roboto. No thank you whatsoever.
I love that song.
I know.
Really, almost in my top 5. I'm going back to an old favorite for my worst song. And I didn't dig too hard. I didn't dig like Jason digs because no one has ever remembered that song ever. My least favorite is definitely going to be Jeopardy from the Greg Kihn Band. Again, I hate him. I do not understand why these songs charted. So boring. Just like the most boring possible song that you could possibly write. Nothing about it is exciting. His voice sucks. The band sucks. There's nothing interesting about them. There's no standout instrument. And it's just a really boring, lame, like repetitive song. It just boggles my mind that this band was ever able to crack the charts. And it was a top 10 too. Ridiculous.
This song, Jeopardy, does suck, but the breakup song is awesome. You're so wrong about that.
All right, time for the winners. We are 4 years into the 80s now, and I've only got 2 artists winning years for me. I'm going back to the Talking Heads, who won in 80 for me. I've got This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this song did chart. So I have an extra charting song on my list, even though this is technically part of my wild cards. So it was a bit of a hit in its time. But growing up, it was never a song I heard on the radio, never a song I heard until I actually got into the Talking Heads. I knew like a handful, maybe 4 or 5 songs that the classic rock stations would play. This was not one of them. But then I think we discussed this in the albums of the year video, or maybe in the Talking Heads videos. There was a moment, I don't know exactly when it was, about 10 years ago, where this song just absolutely caught fire with every indie rock band that existed. It just had a moment unlike any other song I've really ever seen, like a song from the past. It was a hit to some extent, but just seemed more popular than ever 30 or whatever years later. It was covered by Arcade Fire, by MGMT, by Car Seat Headrest, Sean Hayes, Walk the Moon, Iron and Wine did it, Lumineers did it, everybody. And if you just search on YouTube, just like hundreds and hundreds of covers of this songs by random people playing it. Really strange and hard to explain that resurgence. David Byrne described the song as a love song that was like intentionally trying to avoid cliches, and it's kind of just built up of non sequiturs. There's not really any narrative story to it, which is kind of unusual. And I don't know, maybe that is partially why it became so big with a new generation of people, where it's like the searching for love, but it's also kind of scattered. I don't know, whatever it is, I also feel it though, because I think it's just absolutely perfect song. The whole groove and feel of it is great. They called it Naive Melody because it was much simpler than the stuff they had been doing previously, like on Remain in Light, which was a lot more, built around polyrhythms and all this like crazy busyness going on. This is very simple, beautiful, a lot of emotion to it without, trying really hard to emote and like belt a love song. It just feels very honest and real, and I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it kind of became, for some reason, like a anthem for like the millennial generation. It's really unusual because it's an older song. Like even people that aren't into Talking Heads or like art house music or like anything, people that just listen to top 40, that you can still find like a basic ass person that will put this on at like a party. And it's like, how do you know this song? How do you know it wasn't a hit? It's, yeah, just really interesting. All right, here's what I've got. I've got from my album of the year winner, Like a Song by U2. Once again, not going to win with that one, but it is my favorite. Really amazing pulse to this song. I don't know what the Edge is doing. It sounds like it's like harmonics, but they're really loud and powerful. It's just really cool the way his guitar is like blasting for the Edge. The drums are just thunder, like you're leading an army and just pounding away, telling everyone to like come with you. It's so cool. Bono singing his heart out here. The song just like keeps going and going and going, and just like the foot never gets off the gas. Even when it slows down, it's still just like got this fire burning inside of it, and it's just this big, just what U2's all about, especially in this album. It's got the revolution once again, kind of, the poor man fighting the man, and all of that. It's awesome. It's everything you want in a U2 song. Everyone kind of has their little moments, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It is just a killer ass song, and for them it's almost like a rock and roll song for them, because it's just so crashing and downhill, and just got like that simple guitar part just leading it. And yeah, love it. Really feels like Bono is just like leading an army with a flag and just getting it going. He's like a general out there on this song. It's awesome. Love it. Jason would maybe love it too.
Well, that's definitely going to challenge the hand that feeds for least amount of votes ever on this channel. And wait, what song did you even pick? Like a Song? That's what it's called? I have no recollection of that song at all. Anyhow, you can't vote for Jason's because there's too many, like all those bands covering it makes me immediately suspicious of it, the song in general. It's no good. Too many millennials liking that one. So the only choice is going to be to vote for me again. I'd like your votes for this one. We just talked about them. We just had a whole friggin' week dedicated to them. My boys, our boys, the Smiths. I'm going to go with This Charming Man. I can't remember what came first, either this or Hand in Glove, but man, when I heard this song and that guitar line from Johnny Marr, it is just unreal. Immediately was obsessed with it. It's like this complex lead that just runs the entire song. Rourke is doing like this disco-y bass line, and it shouldn't work at all together. Somehow it works. It's amazing. Morrissey's still kind of getting his bearings as a singer. But on this, I think he sounds great. Just immediately that new sound, Morrissey, this incredible guitar player, this amazing rhythm section doing this bouncy thing, just blew me away. I knew some of the other Smith songs. This wasn't the first Smith songs I heard or anything, but for some reason I came to this one later. But as soon as I heard it, it just made me fall in love with the Smiths over and over again. And yeah, my favorite, as you could see if you watched the Smiths video, also Joe 2's favorite Smith song. So Joe's Sticking Together, This Charming Man, my favorite of 1983. I feel like it's going to determine once and for all, like our American fans versus the British fans. Like who's going to take it here? Both very popular with our target audience.
Yeah. And the Talking Heads don't really have that Americanness about them. So I was going to predict, I forgot to text you that I did think that was going to be your pick, Jason. So
yeah, it will be interesting. YouTube analytics says that the vast majority of the viewers are American, but it does feel like a huge percentage of the people that comment regularly are British. So let us know in the comments what you think of our lists and what your favorite songs of 1983 are. Be sure to follow the link in the description to go vote for which of our picks for Song of the Year is your favorite. There will also be playlists down there for you to check out if you want to hear any of the other selections. You can also find our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed yet, hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.